Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name's Josh Hall. This is the Shoney's Tuesday Night Racing Series here on Intensity Broadcasting on iRacing. Getting ready for race number 3 of the season here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. This is not your grandfather's Atlanta. This is the new Atlanta right here. These drivers are driving this thing like a super speedway, and it is going to be a great battle all night long, and maybe we might see as much excitement in this one as we did in the actual Atlanta race this past Sunday. Currently at the top of the leaderboard is the 14 of Jeffrey Engel. Daniel Wilkerson sits back in second. Steve Gerber back in third. Kevin Brown and Tyler Millette round out your top 5. But your points leader right now, Jonathan Jennings, sits back in the 12th position. The man who's been dominating Tuesday nights for a couple of years now. Already 3 wins on the 4-race season. Let's take a look at those points coming into tonight. Exactly that. You see Jonathan Jennings, 4 starts, 3 wins. The only other driver who's won this year is Michael Hayes. You got Justin McMahon, Christopher Leftwich, and Jonathan Smith rounding out your top 5. Jason Palmer's made a big jump last week, moving up 9 spots up into the 6th position. 7th, Mark Dumont. Richard Leclerc back in 8th. Kevin Brown and Steve Gerber round out your top 10. Your biggest loser so far on the season last week, Chuck Cobb, losing 12 spots in the points, but with an opportunity to see if he can gain some here tonight in our super speedway style Atlanta race. These drivers drafting around here like you would see at Daytona or Talladega, and it's going to be a tight one. These drivers are going to be doing just as much drafting as they do at Daytona and Talladega. The only difference is they may be lifting just a little bit. If we ride along here, let's see if we can pop along here with the, let's see if who's in this group here. Yeah, let's ride along with the 14 of Bill Gentry. Oh, he is actually the leader, so he will not be the best one to listen to here. Here's Steve Gerber kind of sitting back in the back of the pack. We'll listen and see if he lifts here going into turn 1. You know, he had to take the big lift because there's a checkup right there. And you see just how much these drivers have to check up. And into the corner a little bit of a checkup too. So on fresh tires, they'll be able to hold it wide open, but as the run goes on, they'll be having to drop the lift a little bit each and every lap, as the tires will be going away real quick here tonight at Atlanta. We got about 30 seconds left before we get qualifying underway. In the chat, we see K-Dog. That's Kevin Brown says, thanks for the broadcast tonight. Should be a great race. Sit back and enjoy. As we've got, we are live right now over on Facebook, YouTube, and Kick. Oh, a little bit of a wreck here as Steve Gerber able to sneak through the mess right there, and we have practice just about concluding. Checkered flag is out. And we get ready for qualifying. Then we want to thank all of our great partners here in the Doghouse Racing League. As you see, the shout out to the sponsors down at the bottom. Shoney's series sponsor, of course, Group 6, Simpson Design Shop, and Fanatics, all joining in the efforts here to get this league going. Of course, we'll talk about Shoney's in a moment as we take a look to see what drivers are out on the track right now. And first driver we see is the 22 of Mike Hayes, who won at Daytona. Oh, looks like I have voice chat on, so let me turn that off. I apologize for that. You're going to see the ugly screen for a second as we turn off the drivers. The only reason we do that is things could get hairy and not so PG rated, so we want to make sure to keep the comms clear. as we see Mike Hayes come across the line and start his first of 2 laps. So Bill Gentry out on the racetrack, just coming through turns 3 and 4, making his way to the stripe. Puts up the first lap of a 32.52. Stephen Bonomo, excuse me, bounces back to the 4th position as Kevin Brown jumps to the top of the leaderboard. So yeah, 33 of Kevin Brown making his way off of turn number 4. And across the stripe, Tyler Millette jumps up to the top of the speed charts, but now Kevin Brown jumps up there. Now Bill Gentry jumps up on his 2nd lap. Daniel Wilkerson bumps Kevin Brown back into, well, now 4th as Jonathan Jennings goes to the top of the leaderboard. Lucas Edwards just coming through turns 3 and 4. He's going to come to the checkered flag here, and he is going to jump up into the 12th position. 117 of Richard Leclerc coming off of turn number 4, making his way down to the white flag for his 2nd lap. Leclerc's going to jump up into the 14th position. Chris Leftwich just put down a burner, jumps up into 2nd. See Chad Waller coming down the backstretch right now in the Long John Silver machine. Turns 3 and 4 and down to the stripe. And Chad Waller is going to jump up into 9th. John Smith just came across the stripe. His first lap is going to put up into 18th. Steve Gerber just went up into the 9th position. This looks like it's going to do it for all of our drivers who are going to qualify here tonight, as John Smith is going to jump up into the 13th position. I don't see anybody else coming out onto the racetrack, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that they are not going to be completing their qualifying here tonight. So let's go ahead and thank all of our sponsors here tonight. Of course, your Tuesday night racing series is brought to you by Shoney's. Shoney's is open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Stop by one of their West Virginia locations to try their freshly prepared breakfast bar or take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Doghouse Racing League is also sponsored by Fanatics. And the Doghouse Racing League is affiliated partner with Fanatics. They earn commissions when you purchase through the link below. These commissions are used to help fund the league, and you can check that out at the link below to help out the league here as well. Of course, tonight's race sponsor is Drake's Garage. You can check out Drake's Garage on Instagram and YouTube over at drakesgarage.com. They specialize in let me get the exact words here. Check out check out Drake's Garage on YouTube. Drake's Garage does customization, welding, auto repair, building projects, custom fabrication, mini trucks, and much more. You can check them out both on YouTube and Instagram at the link down below. Let's take a look at our starting grid now. And I apologize, I have a logo on there that should not be on there. But Yeah, the Jonathan Jennings is going to be your pole sitter with Chris Leftwich starting in second. Jess McMahon from third with Gary Clune back in the fourth spot. Fifth was Mike Leftwich with Mike Hayes back in sixth. Seventh is Tyler Millette, and Bill Gentry rounds out position number 8. Steve Gerber, Chad Waller round out your top 10. 11th is Daniel Wilkerson with Kevin Brown back in the 12th position. 13th is John Smith and Mark Dumont back in 14th. 15th, Stephen Bonomo. 16th, Michael Dow. We'll find Richard Leclerc and Gary Amio back in row number 9, and Baker Knapp and Lucas Edwards back in row 10. Row 11 will be Ty Schoening with Andrew Lucas back in 22nd. Christopher Simon in the 23rd position, and Eddie Rivers in 24th. And rounding out the field tonight, the fastest in practice, the 14 of Jeffrey Engel. As the field circulates the racetrack, and we get ready with one to go. Make sure, I'm just going to pop the grid up there, make sure the logo is correct. It is closer. We'll leave it at that for right now. As Jonathan Jennings gets ready to lead them off of turn number 4, pace car takes a hard left-hand turn down on the pit road. And the green flag is in the air, and we are racing here at Atlanta. Jonathan Jennings gets to jump down into turn number 1. Chris Leftwich going to fall back into the 3rd position. Didn't really get a good start there up on that high side. See Mike Leftwich making a run underneath him. Did come down the backstretch for the first time. He's going to tuck back in line behind Mike. That's going to leave the 45 with Gary Clune up on the high side with a little bit of help from the 22 of Mike Hayes. Jess McMahon giving a shove to Jonathan Jennings as they come down across the stripe, and Jonathan Jennings is going to lead our first lap here tonight. As the field makes their way in through turns 1 and 2. Ooh, one car around in the backstretch. Caution is out. Ooh, hard wreck. The 99 John Smith up and over on his side. More drivers involved as well. As drivers down on pit road, we see Michael Dow wrecked down on pit road. The 117 of Leclerc involved as well. Looks like Baker Knapp caught up in this one. That is going to bring up our first wreckage rewind of the night. This looks like it started back here with the 22 of Mike Hayes. Oh, just gets loose by himself there. Tries to hold on to it. We see the 4 of Bill Gentry just kind of giving a little nudge, turning him around. Gentry able to sneak on by. Then everybody tries diving down to the bottom, and you see John Smith catching the 66 of Chad Waller, and they both come back across track there. Kevin Brown able to avoid it. Steven Bonomo sneaks through as well, but then you see the 117 try to check up. Might have got hit there by the 114 of Mark Dumont. So he went sliding down through the infield there. We see the 96 of Baker Knapp caught up in that as well. Not really sure what happened in the back of the field. I think it was just a bunch of checkups. We're going to rewind it real quick and take a look here. Yeah, we see the drivers checking up in front. And Knapp gets down on the apron trying to avoid the 22 and collects the 50 of Dow. So tough break for quite a few drivers. The real big loser, though, would be the 99 of John Smith. Actually, why don't we go ahead and ride along here with John Smith. Let's see if we have the roof cam here on these cars. No, we do not. So we'll go right to the roll bar. And this is just how fast it happens, folks. Heavy damage to that 99 machine. Of course, the Doghouse Racing League does not use resets, so there's no fast repairs. So any damage accrued during the wreck, they'll have to either try to get fixed up, or we'll have to retire from the race. And unfortunately, it looks like drivers like John Smith will be retiring after that one. Baker Knapp able to leave pit road. Looks like he's going to be at least one lap down. Looks like 2 laps down when he comes off of pit road. Michael Dow back on the racetrack. He is 1 lap down. He is the first driver 1 lap down, so he is in the lucky dog position. And we see the 66 of Chad Waller, who is able to stay on the lead lap. Doesn't look like, well, I was going to say doesn't look like too much damage, but the left side of that car is all scraped up, so tough break for him. Looks like Richard Leclerc might have saved himself there. Doesn't have too much damage. But here we go. Pace car takes that hard left-hand turn down on the pit road. Jonathan Jennings going to lead him down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air, and we are back racing here at Atlanta. Much better jump for that inside lane this time as that looks like, Justin McMahon taking the lead away from Jonathan Jennings. Here comes a little side draft there from the 60 of Mike Leftwich. We see the 45 of Gary Kloon trying to follow through as that high lane has not formed up. They are in trouble as that low lane is now hooked up together. They got 4 cars stacked in a row. We all know when you get cars lined up in a line like that, that's where the energy and momentum is going to come from. See the forward Bill Gentry trying to do everything he can to try to push Jonathan Jennings forward. Ooh, Chris Leftwich down on the apron. That's going to check up that low line just a little bit. Daniel Wilkerson here in the mix. He's running in 10. Going to sneak through here. That incident happened right in front of him. He was able to avoid it. He's just trying to work his way back up through the field. At the front, jumps up to the high side now. That's going to give the lead to Mike Leftwich, who's going to lead lap number 8. Side by side for the lead between Mike Leftwich and Justin McMahon as they come off of turn number 2. Even though this track is freshly paved, it still has a little bit of character to it. There's some bumps out there. And as the tires wear off, these cars are going to really start slip sliding around. We're going to see lots of lifts, lots of checkups. The field might even start to spread out just a little bit, but right now, we've got the pack going down into turn number 1. And right now, pretty much the whole field is double file. About 10, 12 rows deep. As they come off of turn number 4 and down across straight to start lap number 10. That time Justin McMahon's going to lead that lap by just a nose. McMahon's going to scoot down to the bottom of the track now. Take that position away from Mike Leftwich trying to use that low lane to his advantage as the low lane's now starting to be a little more stacked up and in file. Starting to struggle a little bit further back in the pack as the dirty air is starting to affect some of those drivers. It looked like either Tyler Millett or no, it was Lucas Edwards up on that high side. Kind of washed up the track a little bit coming off of turn number 3. So he was able to hold down a little bit better. We have one car that's having a little bit of a connection issue. That was 114 on Mark Dumont. As Jonathan Jennings is going to try to take the lead away. You see this time Edwards pushes way out of the track into the entry at turn number 3. And McMahon's going to sneak ahead and lead that lap by about a half a car length. Almost had some 3-wide racing a little further back in the back, but they sorted it out and got back single file, double file, I should say, as they come off of turn number 2. Now McMahon's going to jump up to the high side in front of Jonathan Jennings. As Mike Leftwich has a huge push there from the 45 of Gary Clune, and Justin McMahon just going to both lanes right now. He's trying to lead whatever lane he sees that has the energy. Right now it's a little lane. He's going to stay down there in front of Mike Leftwich. Here comes Jonathan Jennings up on the high side. We'll see if he makes another move up to the high side off of turn number 2. He stays tucked in front of the 60 of Mike Leftwich as here comes Jennings now. He'll be side by side with Leftwich as they come through turns 3 and 4. A little contact there between Leftwich and Jennings. Gary Clune gets a little out of shape there as well. Starting to see the tires really starting to show their age now as we are working lap number 14. They're starting to heat up a little bit, slide around, and we see Leftwich now jump up to the high side. Going to leave Justin McMahon hung out on the low side all by himself, hoping for a push here from Gary Clune. Jonathan Jennings right there to the back of Mike Leftwich. As they come across the stripe this time, looks like Mike Leftwich is barely going to lead that lap by 0.04 at the line. Because the league is considering this a super speedway race, they have 100% fuel in the tank today, so we should only see one pit stop here tonight. Drivers should be able to go somewhere around 45 laps on a tank of fuel as Gary Clune gets way out of shape there right in the middle of the field. Great save for him. He was able to hold on to it. That could have easily been our second big one of the night. The biggest movers to the field so far is the 76 of Lucas Edwards. Edwards up 10 spots from where he started, up into the 11th position. And continuing to try moving forward as he's battling side by side right now with Daniel Wilkerson and Steven Perdomo. That's kind of the beauty of these super speedway races. Sometimes we get people up front that we normally don't talk too much about. Gary Clune up here running back in the 3rd position. Mike Leftwich running up here battling for the lead. As the laps quickly click by. We have 55 laps to go here in the event. You see the field making their way back here, and now these drivers kind of in a position they really don't want to be in. They don't really have anywhere that they can go. And that second 24 machine, that is actually Gary Armio in the 7. Looks like he has a big job on that vehicle tonight. Mike Leftwich takes the lead back again. All these cars are at full song. I like to call pump up the intensity. sights and sounds here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as Mike Leftwich continues to lead with 50 laps to go. Getting a big shove here from Jonathan Jennings. We heard on the pump up the intensity there just how much these drivers on that low line are having the lift, as Chris Leftwich was out of the throttle quite a bit there on that lap. You see Gary Clune giving a huge shove to Justin McMahon, trying to keep him out in front of Mike Leftwich as they continue to battle side by side for the lead as they come across the stripe to start lap number 24. Another driver making his way through the field right now, the 14 of Jeffrey Engel, currently up into the 15th position. Started dead last on the field and making his way up into the top 15 and continuing to move himself forward as the laps click on. See the 22 of Mike Hayes back on the racetrack down on the low lane. After being involved in that earlier incident, looks like he's back on pace. And unfortunately, like I said, back in the 19th position, but trying to salvage a good finish here, and who knows, anything can happen as the race goes on. Field comes down to the stripe. This time Mike Leftwich about a car length lead over Jonathan Jennings. Unlike what we saw in the actual racing this weekend, these drivers will not have to pit from the backstretch. They'll be able to pit right on the front stretch here like a normal pit stop, so that's not going to come into play quite like we saw in the NASCAR race this weekend. Jonathan Jennings pushes Mike Leftwich clearly into the lead. Then he's going to kind of cross him over there, going down into the backstretch. He's going to take over the lead as they come down into turn number 3. So move that 91 machine up to the lead ahead of Justin McMahon. Again, Jonathan Jennings so far 3 for 4 this season, just continues his dominance here on Tuesday nights. But could somebody break that dominance here tonight? Can we see someone like Justin McMahon get a win? Can we see someone like Mike Leftwich get a win here tonight? Tyler Millette in that 94, kind of just hanging tight here, currently up into the 4th position. Still a lot of racing here left here tonight as we come 44 laps to go. As the field's starting to get a little more single file now. You see our top 5 have stretched out away from that high line. As I mentioned, pit stops usually coming around 35 to 45. So I imagine everybody's trying to get in line, start getting ready for green flag pit stops, which should be starting up here relatively soon. Now the top lane starting to get a little more formed back up again. We see Mike Leftwich has some help up there on that high side. Chris and Mike Leftwich now teamed up on the high side right behind them. Looks like the 33 of Kevin Brown. And Lucas Edwards up there on that high side as well. So top lane starting to get formed back up. See if that comes into play here as Green flag pit stops again, I believe, should be stopping or coming up relatively soon. Of course, we want to thank all of our great partners here as we have a break in the action. Of course, Shoney's our series sponsor. Group 6, Simpson Racing Shop, Fanatics, all pitching in and helping out the Doghouse Racing League. Of course, your series sponsor, Drake's Garage. This is the Drake's Garage 111 here in Atlanta. You can check them out over on Facebook. Oh, we got one spin in the backstretch. Daniel Wilkerson is involved. Mike Leftwich as well. No caution. There's the caution flies. Just going to bring up another wreckage rewind as we take a look to see exactly what happened between Mike Leftwich and Daniel Wilkerson. Leftwich up on that high side. Ooh, kind of what we saw earlier. Just gets loose all by himself. Comes down off the corner, catches Daniel Wilkerson. Those two go sliding down through the infield. Doesn't look like too much damage to either car. So both should be able to carry on without issues. So that's going to check up the field, and that should bring everybody down onto pit road so they can complete their pit stop, and we should be able to go green, or should be able to make it to the end without having to come down pit road again. So this should bring down the entire field down on the pit road, led by the 91 of Jonathan Jennings. I believe Baker Knapp is going to be your lucky dog here tonight. As the entire field makes their way down on the pit road. See who's going to win the race off. And Justin McMahon's going to beat Jonathan Jennings off of pit road. Gary Kluge's going to come off in third. Tyler Millette and Steve Gerber. And Mike Leftwich stayed out on the racetrack. So interesting strategy from the 60 of Mike Leftwich. He might have been just trying to get caught back up to the field. He may come down pit road this time by. We'll have to see what he does here. Yep, here comes Leftwich down on the pit road. So McMahon is going to be your leader as they come off of pit road and make their way around the racetrack. Again, the Doghouse Racing League's Tuesday Night Racing Series is brought to you by Shoney's. Shoney's is open daily for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Stop by one of their West Virginia locations and try their freshly prepared legendary breakfast bar, or take home a whole strawberry pie. Shoney's, delicious food and friendly service since 1947. Of course, the Doghouse Racing League also has an affiliate sponsor with Fanatics. They earn commissions when you purchase from the link down below. So check that out at Fanatics down at the link below. Of course, can't forget about our great partner over at Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is a well-known and established leader in racing haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. To figure out which device is right for you or find a movie theater in your area that uses Butt Kicker, check out thebuttkicker.com. You can also check out the Race EPI for all your iRacing coaching and setup needs. Link down below in the description. Of course, check out our new apparel shop over at Intensity Broadcasting and Apparel. We actually have the shop set up there. If you're a racer and looking for your own racing gear. You can check all that out over at Intensity Broadcasting and Apparel at the link down below. Of course, you can pick up Doghouse racing gear as well over at thedoghouseleague.com. You can also find stats, standings, and news over there as well. So you can check that out down at the link below. But here we go. We're getting ready to go back green flag racing. Justin McMahon's going to lead the field down to the Geico restart zone. And the green flag flies yet again. And big jump here for Justin McMahon. Maybe too good of a jump, as that's going to allow, well, I thought Jonathan Jennings was going to tuck down in front of Gary Clune. He is not. McMahon's going to try to lead both lanes here as they come through turns 1 and 2. McMahon slides back down to the bottom, picks up the 45 of Gary Clune. Here comes the 8 of Steve Gerber, another great super speedway racer down on that Lowe's lane. Tires are fresh. And these drivers are going to be able to make the moves they need. And you see kind of a little bit of a breakaway right now, as our top 9 have pulled away from the rest of the field. And then a little bit of a checkup there in the back of the field that's allowed the field to break up here. So now we see the 4 of Bill Gentry falling back to that backfield, and that's going to allow everybody to catch right back up. Saw 2 drivers bouncing off each other back there. It looked like Chris Leftwich and Bill Gentry down on the low side. They were able to hold on to it and stay green. And Diego says, let's go Jeffrey Engel. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the broadcast. We do appreciate the shout out. And of course, love being here on Tuesday nights with the Doghouse Racing League. As the action continues out on the racetrack, here comes Jonathan Jennings up on that high side. Steve Gerber giving a push to the pusher there. Gary Clune getting a little out of shape. That breaks up that low lane and allows Jonathan Jennings to get a run up on the high side with a big push here from the 94 of Tyler Millette up on that high side. Chris Leftwich and Lucas Edwards up on the high side. They come down across the stripe. Too close to tell that time. Looks like Justin McMahon had it by a nose as the field makes their way through turns 1 and 2. Notice the cloud cover here tonight here at Atlanta. That's going to cool the track off as the sun is not really peeking out too much. Keeping that track temperature down, keeping these cars fast, keeping the grip in the track in the race. Of course, speaking of weather, iRacing announcing that the rain is coming for those who race in the road course races. Certain cars, they will have the ability to race in the rain. That's coming in a few weeks' time in the next build, so that's going to be exciting for those who've been on iRacing for a long time. Just as exciting as the race for the lead right now is Justin McMahon and Jonathan Jennings are just door-to-door coming down through the quad oval and into turn at number 1. McMahon has a bit of a run, though, on that low side. He's got Gary Clune continuing to stay there on the back bumper and moving that 24 forward. Jennings able to hang tight up on that high side with just the help from the 94 of Millette as they make their way off of turn 4. Ooh, big wiggle there out of the 33 of Kevin Brown. And then we saw the 8 of Steve Gerber get a little loose there on that low side as well. Ooh, one car really loose. That looked like the 9 of Steven Bonomo. He was able to hold on to it, but man, that car was just sideways going down into turn number 1. And that's where we've seen all the wrecks happen tonight, is drivers just getting loose by themselves, especially up on that high side. Field is also coming up on a lap car. I believe that is the 99 of John Smith that they are coming up on quickly. It is, and we'll see what Smith does. Pulls down on the apron to stay out of the way. Field is approaching quickly as Justin McMahon able to pull away a little bit, but that's not what you want to do here at Atlanta. You don't want to pull away. You need that help from behind. We saw Smith stay down on the apron, allow everybody to pass by cleanly. And when we come across the stripe this time, we'll have just 25 laps to go. More Super Speedway racing after this as the SCSRA kicks off their season with their first points race tonight in the SCSRA Intensity Apparel Truck Series. Going to be taking off from Daytona right after this one, but right now we got to settle it here at Atlanta as Jonathan Jennings and Justin McMahon have been battling back and forth for the top spot for the last 15 to 20 laps. Two drivers just cannot seem to get away from each other right now. And it's all about who can help behind. McMahon has the 45 of Gary Clune trying to stay glued to that bumper. On the high side, you've got Jonathan Jennings with the 94 Tyler Millette staying glued to the back bumper. Also that third place driver, two really good Super Speedway racers. Chris Leftwich up on the high side. Jonathan Jennings down on the bottom. I'm sorry, Steve Gerber down on the bottom. So anything can really happen here in these closing laps as we have less than 25 laps to go. Jennings now getting a little bit of a good shove here. Trying to pull out and clear the 24. But not quite able to clear Jennings as they, or McMahon as they go down off of turn at number 2. McMahon just barely able to hold on to that top spot as we're quickly approaching 20 laps to go. Side-by-side racing, door-to-door. Ooh, one car catches. That looks like Millette might have just barely scraped the wall there coming down the backstretch. Doesn't look like he did anything to slow that car down, but the top lane starting to fall back just a little bit as Millette continues to push on that 91. Jonathan Jennings with just 20 laps to go. Oh, Chris Leftwich now up into the outside wall, able to hold on to it. That breaks up that top lane. As Lucas Edwards had to check up to keep from running in the back of the 13. That checks up that entire top lane. Now the bottom lane checks up as Gary Clune got a little loose there in the middle of the corner. And that is going to give the opportunity to Jonathan Jennings to come away with the lead here as they go down into turn number 1. No, this time McMahon now has his help back to the back bumper. He's able to pull back alongside Jonathan Jennings as they drag race down the backstretch. Jennings now out in front by a sizable amount. He is clear of McMahon. Now is he going to try to dive down to the low side and block McMahon? McMahon, though, read the run down on the low side, trying to get back down. Looks like Jonathan Jennings is trying to pull that 94 of Millette along with him. He's helped him so much here tonight. He doesn't want to let him go. Come off of turn at number 2. Now McMahon and Jennings are door-to-door as Chris Leftwich pushes it up through the middle, makes it 3 wide, shoves Millette out of the way. Millette all alone up on that high side. He is falling backwards like a rock. Catches the wall off of turn number 4, continues to run 3 wide down into turn number 1. Back at the front, Jonathan Jennings and Justin McMahon continue to do battle up at the front. Now Chris Leftwich in that position right behind Jonathan Jennings. That was a real gutsy move there out of the 13 of Chris Leftwich. Diving it 3 wide. There was enough room to do it. He was able to make it work, but it's not going to be a real popular move, I don't think, here as we come to 15 laps to go. I think it's just a little bit too early to make an aggressive move like that, but when the laps are clicking away as quick as they are, about 30 seconds a lap, you got to make your moves when you can. Ooh, big wiggle out of Lucas a little further back. That kind of separates a little bit of the field back here as we see the 114 also falling back a little bit. Jaramillo down on the low side. Trying to peek there underneath Steven Bonomo. As Lucas Edwards now up into the 7th position, gaining 13 laps from where he started. Kind of been stuck up on that high side. Oh, big checkup. Oh, we got one around. Big wreck in the back here. Caution is out as they are all piling in. Huge wreck here. One car up on its roof, sliding down the front stretch here. That is the, it comes to a rest. That is the 114 of Dumont still up on his roof as the pace car is out, and that is going to bring up another wreckage rewind. Ooh, a lot of really good drivers involved in this one as well. Looks like it started back here with Tyler Millette and the 114, of Mark Dumont. Dumont gets forced up into the outside wall. Bonomo makes heavy contact. You see the back bumper come off, then Millette nowhere to go. Bill Gentry hard into that outside wall. There's where the 114 gets caught in the rear, sent up and over on his lid and slides down the entire corner up on his roof. Meanwhile, behind him, we see the chaos that ensues. Engel involved. We see Christopher Simon involved in this one. Steven Bonomo, as we mentioned. Chad Waller caught up in this one. There's Mike Hayes getting involved in this one for another one for a second time. Ty Schoening involved in this one. Looks like Eddie Rivers was caught up in this as well. The 15. That is, Eddie Rivers, the 15, caught up in that. So quite a few, unfortunately, good race cars caught up in that one. It looks like we only have 10 cars left on the racetrack as everybody else was involved in that incident. We see Mike Hayes on pit road, Tyler Millette, Chad Waller, Daniel Wilkerson was caught up in that one, Richard Leclerc, Ty Schoening, as I mentioned. You see Eddie Rivers just pulling away, Jeffrey Engel, Christopher Simon was caught up in that, Bill Gentry, Mark Dumont, Steven Bonomo. So quite a long list of drivers caught up in that most recent wreck. That is the big one here tonight. As we are coming, next time they cross the line, we'll have 11 laps to go. If the lights go off on the pace car when they cross the line this time, we'll have just a 10-lap shootout for the victory here tonight. So we watch that pace car here come across the stripe. There it is. Lights are off on the pace car. Looks like McMahon is going to choose the inside lane, putting Jonathan Jennings up on the high side. Row 2 will be Gary Clune and Chris Leftwich. Row 3, Steve Gerber and Lucas Edwards. Row 4, Kevin Brown and Gary Amio. And then back in row number 5 is Daniel Wilkerson. Nope, I take that back. That's the 77 down on the low side there. Is Andrew Lucas and Mike Leftwich. Tyler Millette, Christopher Simon, Bill Gentry, Mark Dumont, Steven Bonomo still on pit road. Looks like they are going to be out of it here. Looks as if only one driver has retired tonight. That is the 50 of Michael Dow. I just want to verify that as you see up at the top screen. Yep, Jonathan Smith is 33 laps down, and Michael Dow is listed as out. All right, here we go. Pace car is down on pit road. Justin McMahon leading them down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. Another great jump for Justin McMahon down on that low side. Jonathan Jennings does not get the jump that he needs. Gary Clune right there to the back bumper of McMahon. Here comes Steve Gerber down on the low side, and Kevin Brown down on the low side as well, trying to make something happen. He's going to tuck up to the high side as the field kind of makes one line. A little bit of a block in there. Big block there as Steven Gerber is going to move up into the second position with a big push from Jonathan Jennings. Down across stripe, 9 laps to go as they look to make it 3 wide down into turn number 1. Gary Clune now leading that high lane. Jonathan Jennings going to tuck back in the 3rd spot. Is Steve Gerber going to try to make a move? No, but Jennings will. He'll jump up to the high side with Kevin Brown in tow. Gary Clune up there as well. Here comes the 77 of Andrew Lucas down on the low side. Chris Leftwich drops down to the bottom as well as they're trying to make that low lane move forward. Just 8 laps to go here as they come down into turn number 1. Justin McMahon has a full car length lead over that top spot of Jonathan Jennings, Kevin Brown, and Gary Clune. Down into turns 3 and 4. McMahon doing everything he can to keep it painted down on that red line. Much like Daytona or Talladega, that red line is out of bounds. So drivers will not be able to advance their position down below that line. Field makes their way off of turn number 2. Gerber pushes up the track a little bit, tries to do a little side drafting on the 91 of Jonathan Jennings, but that just pulls Jennings ahead and puts him right on the door of Justin McMahon as they come off of turn number 4. And we'll have just 6 laps to go. In the chat, you see Let's Go Lucas. Not sure if that's for Andrew Lucas or Lucas Edwards, as both are currently right now in the top 10. McMahon's able to keep ahead of Jonathan Jennings there, coming off the corners with Jennings. Down the backstretch, gets such a good run, and down through the quad oval, gets a really good run up on that high side. As Gerber almost takes a look down to the inside. Oh, 1 around to the back, 2 around the back. Mike Leftwich hard into the outside wall. We see Daniel Wilkerson caught up in this one. Eddie Rivers, Mike Hayes caught up in another one. Jeffrey Engel was involved. That's going to bring up another wreckage rewind as we take a look to see what brought out this one. We saw Mike Leftwich get right reared hard into the outside wall. See if we can see exactly what brought this one out. Ooh, Waller gets down, catches Daniel Wilkerson, and ooh, Leftwich just wrong place, wrong time. Vicious hit, really bad angle. Comes back across the track, hits Eddie Rivers. That 96, just nowheres to go. Same thing with Jonathan Smith involved in this one. Then the 47 of Ty Schoening, just nowheres to go. All involved in this one as well. So tough break for quite a few drivers. And let's just, that hit that the 60 just took of Mike Leftwich. This is going to be real time. Let's do the right thing and ride along with him here. No idea that that hit was coming. So that's going to bring the caution out. That's going to set us up for a green-white checker. Confirmation cheering on Lucas Edwards in the chat, who is currently up in the 8th position. Was able to avoid that wreck. Let's see if he's able to make any moves here, but it's going to be a wild finish here. Green-white checker finish. Race win on the line. Justin McMahon, Jonathan Jennings going to be lining up on the front row. Steve Gerber, Kevin Brown back in row 2. Andrew Lucas, Gary Clune back in row 3. Row 4 is going to be Lucas Edwards, Gary Amio. Sorry, Chris Leftwich and Lucas Edwards. And then row 5, Gary Amio and Chad Waller. We see Richard Leclerc and Daniel Wilkerson. I don't know how much damage Wilkerson's got. We saw him make heavy contact with the 60, but I think he was able to escape most damage here. Let's take a look here at Wilkerson. We know he got turned down into the 60. Man, that's just going to be a vicious hit for that 60 once again. But, yeah, it looks like he was pretty much able to avoid everything. And just barely catches the outside wall. I believe Daniel Wilkerson's going to be in okay shape. Although kind of looking at that suspension there, we'll zoom in on that car. That right rear is not looking too happy right now, so we'll have to see how this plays out here. As the lights on the pace car are off. And we're going to have ourselves a green-white checker finish. In the checker, Jonathan Smith says, I just wanted to get a few laps back so I didn't finish that fast. But I'll take that as a sign and leave. I like to do the cha-cha. Anthony Anderson says, Lucas Edwards better win this. We're going to see who's going to win here in the Drake's Garage 111. Of course, check out Drake's Garage on YouTube and Instagram at Drake's_garage. That is way too zoomed in there on Jonathan Jennings. Let's get a different camera view there. Sorry about that. The green flag is in the air. 2 laps to go. Big jump again for Justin McMahon. He's going to have to get down to the low side to defend. There he goes, down to the low side to defend the run here from Jonathan Jennings as they line up on McMahon. Now Jennings looks down to the inside. Here comes Steve Gerber, though, giving a push. Oh, McMahon almost gets turned, able to hold on to it. Comes up off the racetrack. They are 3 wide. McMahon's going to fall all the way back. Jonathan Jennings is going to take the lead as the white flag flies. Just 1 lap to go here in this race. They are fanning out 3 wide into turn number 1. All behind the 91, Jonathan Jennings. Oh, Gary Clune down on the apron. He's going to come back up the racetrack. They were able to hold on to it. Here comes the 77 of Andrew Lucas. He's going to have a chance here down the backstretch. Jonathan Jennings trying to defend every lane he can. Here comes Steve Gerber up on the high side. He's going to push here from Kevin Brown as they come through turns 3 and 4. Chris Leftwich here in the mix as well as they come off of turn number 4 down to the stripe, and it's going to be Jonathan Jennings by a hair. 0.05 ahead of Andrew Lucas, who comes home in second. Chris Leftwich brings it home in third, but for the fourth time this season, Jonathan Jennings claims the top spot of the podium. The driver who I feel the most for right now is this 24 of Justin McMahon, who had such a dominating car and was putting himself right in for a race win. And you see just how tore up that 24 machine is as Jonathan Jennings makes his way down to the start-finish line, where he is going to celebrate his win here tonight. What a finish here tonight. Let's take a look at our results here. As we mentioned, Jonathan Jennings gets the win. Andrew Lucas comes home in second. Chris Leftwich, Kevin Brown, and Steve Gerber, your top five. Justin McMahon falls back into sixth. Gary Mio in seventh. Chad Waller, Lucas Edwards, and Richard Leclerc round out your top 10. Daniel Wilkerson in 11th. Gary Clune back in 12th. Mike Hayes finishes 13th. Jeffrey Engel and Eddie Rivers round out your top 15. Ty Schoening back in 16th. Mike Leftwich 17th. Tyler Millette back in the 18th position. Baker Knapp finishes 19th. And Stephen Bonomo rounds out your top 20. 21st, Mark Dumont. Bill Gentry back in 22nd. Christopher Simon finishes 23rd. John Smith back in 24th. And rounding out the field is the 50 of Michael Dow. As we get ready to talk to our top three here tonight. Before we do that, we want to again thank all of our great partners here tonight in the Doghouse Racing League. Of course, Shoney's your series sponsor, Group 6, Simpson Racing Design, Fanatics. Of course, Drake's Garage. Check him out on YouTube and Instagram at Drake's_garage. He's the home for customization, welding, auto repair, building projects, custom fabrication, mini trucks, and more. You can check that out down at the link below, or just find him on Instagram or YouTube at Drake's Garage. Of course, the Doghouse Racing League is affiliate with Fanatics. They earn commissions by using the shopping link down below. Check it out and help support the league. You can also support the league by visiting doghouseracingle.com for all their standings, stats, and more, as well as their merch store. So check that out at thedoghouseracingle.com. Let's bring in your third place finisher here. Coming home in third, Chris Leftwich. Chris, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me? Man, a great race for you here tonight. Came up a little bit short, but you made that really aggressive move there with about 10 laps to go, forcing it 3 wide, and or about 15 laps to go. I thought it was a little too early for a move like that, but I'm sure you're just trying to see what the car would do, shuffling Tyler Millette out to the back there. Talk us through that move, and is that something you're just trying to test to see if it would work later on in the race?
I wasn't even trying to do that. I got sucked up really fast, and when we were going into the turn, they went to the high side, and I was running on the high side with them, and they went to they were staying up high and on the entry of the turn, and I guess I stayed middle, and the car just went right up in between them. I was like, oh man, I didn't want to do all that, but I want to apologize though to Gary Clune, man. I didn't mean to get into him there. I was trying to avoid the 33 car there on the last lap and ended up knocking him out of the race. I didn't mean to do all that.
Yeah, it's super speedway racing. Sometimes that just happens. But, man, you were fast. You were up front most of the night there, kind of working with Mike. Was that kind of a strategy, the two of you kind of working up there all night long, trying to keep yourselves in it to the end?
Yeah, I was trying to come down to the last lap. Hopefully he was going to stay in the race, and we was going to work together and I was going to try either push him to the win or he was going to push me to the win. But, yeah, he was behind me there for a little bit there, kind of find out he was missing a rear panel on his back of his car there, and he couldn't draft very well. I don't know what happened to him, but yeah, we was trying like heck to work as a team there, and Simon, our other teammate there, we was trying to get him up to the front too. We was trying to talk him through some stuff and everything, but yeah, but he was running pretty good. happy he was up there with us most of the time. I'm glad to see him do good.
Yeah, and he took a vicious hit there in turn number 2. You'll have to go back and check that out. But glad to see you guys up there running strong and almost coming away with a steal here. But coming home on the podium is nothing to sneeze at either. So congratulations on third here. And before we let you go, Chris, anyone want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank you, man, for all the stuff you do for the league and all that you do a good job broadcasting. I want to thank Doghouse for putting on this hectic league because I know it can be hectic sometimes. I appreciate Daniel and all the admins, and I appreciate Shoney for sponsoring me and in the league, and I appreciate my dad. He really helps out with the league, and he also helps out with me personally. We practice a lot and everything. I also want to thank my fiance. She puts up with all this stuff, and you know what I mean. And I'm actually under the weather right now. I'm actually pretty sick, and I didn't even feel like racing today.
Sometimes getting in the race car and just focusing on something different is the best medicine. So, man, again, hope you feel better. Good luck to you, and congrats on the podium. And hopefully, we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Have a great night.
All right, you too.
So that was your third place finisher, Chris Leftwich. Arthur Lucas did not pop into the waiting room. So let's bring in your winner here tonight. For the fourth time here this evening, Jonathan Jennings gets the win. Jonathan, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Man, what a run here tonight for you. Battling hard up at the front. This one was definitely earned. I know you said before you're not a huge fan of super speedway racing. It's kind of a crapshoot, but man, you and McMahon were putting on quite a show there at the end. Coming down to a green-white checker finish. I know it didn't seem like you were firing off too well up on that high side. Was that kind of a concern coming down to finish there because you knew that high side just did not have the momentum on the starts?
No, I just suck at restarts in general, unless I'm the leader, of course. But yeah, Justin, he did really good at starting them, and I need to work on that. But he did really good tonight. That's what happened there.
Yeah, he got kind of shuffled out of line there at the end. And you're working with Tyler Millette a lot throughout the night. I'm not sure if he's a teammate of yours or not, but you two were kind of hooked up on that high side. Were you planning on working with him as much as you could there? Because you guys seem to be real fast when you're hooked up there.
No, I had quite a few different people on my bumper, and I had a few on the front too. But yeah, he touched it really good. I think he got caught up in a wreck though. But yeah, I don't know. I was pretty good at pushing.
Yeah, he was able to keep you up there most of the night, which was really exciting to see. And then next week, we're going to move on to Phoenix Raceway. Going to go a little semi-short track racing. How do you like your chances next week at Phoenix? I believe that's a track that you like.
Yes, that's one of my favorite ones. But my luck hasn't been that great here past few times, but that's how it goes, I guess. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Phoenix getting away from these super speedways for a little bit.
Well, 4 wins and 5 races is pretty good odds right there. Looking to get your 5th one next week. So good luck at Phoenix. Again, I know you said it's one of your favorite tracks, so I'm sure we'll be talking to you again. But of course, before we let you go, who do you got to thank? Who you got to shout out here tonight?
You guys for the broadcast. Daniel for everything he does, putting these things together, and the sponsors, Shoney's, Root 6, Simpson Design Shop, and Fanatic. I will never get that right.
Fanatics, you got it right. That was right.
And everybody that showed up tonight did a pretty good job. Just a few cautions, which we'll have that. Everybody did pretty good.
No, it was a great race to watch. It's a exciting show that you guys put on up front, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do next week at Phoenix. So good luck at Phoenix next week, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
So that was your winner, Jonathan Jennings. Looking forward to next week at Phoenix. Then we'll have an off week the following week. A couple more chats here in the chat. We saw Lucas Edwards better win this or he's not going to be allowed back to BYOB Racing. Nap Daddy Racing says sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield. Nap Daddy was the bug's team tonight. Yeah, and Bill Gentry says that's my boy. Good run, kid. I couldn't finish it out, man. It was a great race. You were up there up front all night there, so hopefully we'll see you again up at the front. But that's going to do it for us here tonight on Intensity Broadcast. Of course, don't forget to check out all of our great partners here in the Shoney's Racing League. Of course, you've got Shoney's, Group 6, Simpson Design Shop, Fanatics. Of course, you can check out all the links down below for Fanatics as well as the Doghouse Racing League's website. Don't forget to check out Drake's Garage on both YouTube and Instagram. Go ahead and give them a follow and a like. I'm sure he'd appreciate that over there. Of course, our great partner over at Butt Kicker for all your haptic needs. Check out thebuttkicker.com. And of course, Shoney's the great series sponsor here on the Doghouse Racing League. Of course, we want to thank everybody for joining us, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or over on Kick. We do appreciate you joining us here tonight. If you like Super Speedway Racing, join us back here in about a half an hour as the SCSRA Intensity Apparel Truck Series will be taking on Daytona for their season opener here tonight. So it's going to be a great one. So join us right back here in about half hour time. If not, we'll see you next week at Phoenix, and that's going to do it for us here on Intensity Broadcasting here on iRacing. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. And as our boy Atlee, Atman Weiss would say, over and out.